I think my biggest fear when I went in for the C-section, because Callan was so early, was, is he going to be breathing? Is he going to be okay? Then my second fear was, is this epidural really going to hurt as much as everybody says it's going to hurt? And I can't honestly remember what it felt like. I think I was in such panic at that moment. I actually don't remember Callan crying. I remember asking you a million times, is he breathing? Is he breathing? Is he breathing? I think I was just so kind of mentally all over the place that I actually couldn't physically hear him crying. I think I was just more in my head. Is he breathing? Well, of course he's breathing because he's crying, but I couldn't hear it. And you were the one that was like, yes, he's breathing. Yes, he's breathing.
It's life-changing. It was surreal to kind of be there in the room and see all this happening, and the doctor's working, and I'm just kind of standing off to the side, being a part of it, but trying not to be in the way. And then when they brought him out and he started screaming and coughing, it was just kind of this relief and joy and kind of the, oh, this is real now moments, and then also panic and fear because he was so little, and they were moving him away from her and doing other things, and cutting the umbilical cord and all the other stuff they do. That was a blur to me. I got to see him for a minute or so, got to take a couple pictures with him, or of him. I didn't get to touch him, and then brought him over so she could see him. And then he was gone. He was to the NICU. And then everything turned to making sure she was better. And then I got to go see him in the NICU maybe an hour or so later, or 2 hours later. I forget what it was.
It was shortly thereafter. And he actually FaceTimed me while he was in the NICU. So the real first time I saw him after birth was via FaceTime.
Yeah.
My feelings right after birth were very mixed because I just wanted to hold him, but I knew for his health that they needed to do what they needed to do. I also knew that I wasn't out of the woods yet, so I was still going to be heavily monitored. And I think it was probably the hardest on you because you didn't know where to be.
Right, and that was the thing. Do I go down to see him? Do I stay with her? I'm constantly, up and down.
And you're trying to call everybody
right.
to let everybody know. Right now, everything's okay. So I think you kind of felt like Stretch Armstrong, Gumby-ish at that moment.
Yeah, it was, pulled a million different directions, but that, it was, it's kind of a blur. It was a lot. It was a lot to process in, 48 hours or so, 50 hours, whatever it ended up being. And then it was, okay, he's okay, she's okay. Call family members, start telling them, get them to start calling other people and spread the word. And then it was, just making sure she was okay and just kind of having a minute with her. And then it was like, okay, now she has to go here, and then I'm going to go check on him. And then it just, a couple days of just, I felt like I was constantly in the elevator at the hospital.
I think the hardest thing was not being able to hold him or really touch him. He was so fragile at that point, and his skin was so underdeveloped that when you were in the NICU, you basically were able to touch him with your index finger and just stroke him lightly. I believe it was a little over 24 hours from when I delivered till when I was actually able, well enough to get into a wheelchair to be wheeled up to the NICU, and that was the same thing. It was heartbreaking because you have a pane of glass.
Yeah. Yeah, you're looking at your child through plastic. You see the stories, the pictures on Facebook of your friends, holding the baby and all of that, and we didn't get that like instant gratification. We didn't get that moment.
I think it was almost 5 days after he was born until we could hold him for the first time.
And even then, it was. Mom got to hold him the first day for a couple of minutes and then had to put him back. And then I got to hold him the next day for a couple of minutes. And
it's not what we pictured either, right? So you have nurses hovering, making sure you're not disturbing the monitor.
And there's wires and cords and everything he's hooked up to. It's still an amazing moment, but it's not what you picture in your head. That's, you see the pictures of yourself when you're a baby with your parents, or you see your friends or your other family members, like that just wasn't our reality.